ever met someone who loves to suffer for love? You know, that person who turns every breakup into an Oscar-worthy sad soundtrack? Well, today we're talking about the original, Orpheus, the Greek singer with a divine voice, heavenly talent, and absolutely zero emotional stability. Son of the muse Calliope and the god Apollo, Orpheus wasn't just a lyrical heartthrob from mythology. He was basically the Beyoncé of the ancient world. One note and the stones wept, animals danced, and trees tried to sing back up. But, like every good Greek legend, this isn't going to end well. Spoiler, there's death, tragic music, and one of the dumbest decisions ever made by a lovesick mortal. So hit that subscribe button, because we can't promise a happy ending. But we guarantee even the grief comes with a killer soundtrack. Before becoming mythology's ultimate heartbroken mess, Orpheus was the artist of the Greek scene. Son of Apollo, god of the sun and music, and Calliope, muse of epic poetry. He was basically the child of Beyoncé and Mozart. With a magical lyre gifted by Apollo, Orpheus didn't just charm humans. He could make trees sway to the beat, tame wild animals, and even make rivers change course just to listen better. He was the living embodiment of mythological Spotify. If you think music soothes the soul, imagine a song that stops the entire world in its tracks. But Orpheus wasn't just voice and vibes, he had guts too. He joined the Argonauts, the squad of heroes led by Jason in the quest for the Golden Fleece. When their ship nearly crashed thanks to the hypnotic singing of the sirens, Orpheus saved the crew by playing louder and better than the sirens themselves. First lesson: never underestimate a musician in love with professional gear. After that hero tour, Orpheus met Eurydice, a mortal who fell in love not just with the music, but with the musician himself. And honestly, who wouldn't fall for a guy who can move mountains with a lyre solo? They were completely smitten, got married, and everyone thought it would be romantic ballads and acoustic sunsets from then on. But Greek mythology has an invisible contract with drama. And fate decided to crash the party. One day, Eurydice was strolling through the fields, looking all serene and lovely, when she got chased by Aristeus, a Greek beekeeper with serious boundary issues. Running away, she stepped on a snake and died from a venomous bite. Yup. The wife of the most emotionally gifted singer in Greece died because of a creepy beekeeper and a random snake in the grass. Tragic? Yes. Unbelievable? Also yes. Desperate, Orpheus decided to do what no one else dared: descend into the underworld to bring back his beloved. Because asking a therapist for help was just too mainstream. With Zeus' permission, he didn't want to get involved, but sent Hermes along to make sure things didn't get out of hand. Orpheus descended into Hades, armed only with his lyre and a heart full of sorrow. There, he calmed Charon, the ferryman of the river Styx, lulled Cerberus, the three-headed dog, to sleep with a lullaby, and made it all the way to the throne of Hades and Persephone. Hades' reaction upon seeing a mortal trespassing in his realm? Basically, either you've got a really good reason, or you're heading straight to Tartarus. So Orpheus did what he did best: he sang his pain. And it wasn't just any song. It was the song. Even the stones wept, punishments paused, and Sisyphus took a break from his rock. Even Hades cried, a single iron tear that melted as it hit the ground. With the whole underworld sobbing in the fetal position, Hades finally gave in. He said,
"All right, you can take the girl. But there's one condition. You can't look at her until you're both out of the underworld."
Sounded simple, right? A straightforward challenge. Just walk in a straight line without looking back. But they forgot to mention one thing: Orpheus was an artist. And artists, darling, come factory installed with anxiety and a flair for drama. On the way back, Hermes walked beside him, Eurydice followed closely behind, and Orpheus? The whole time he was convinced it was a trick, that she wasn't really there, that it was all some prank from Hades' HR department. And then, just 3 steps away from the sunlight hitting his face, Orpheus couldn't take it anymore. He turned his head. And in that exact moment, Eurydice vanished like a weak Wi-Fi signal in a tunnel. She was pulled back into the world of the dead, without even enough time to say, "Told you so." Orpheus just stood there, devastated, trying to hold on to what was no longer there. After that, Orpheus was never the same. He returned to the world of the living wearing the same clothes, carrying the same instrument, but with zero joy left in him. His music, once capable of making flowers dance, now only made plants wither out of sympathy. He avoided people, stopped singing to crowds, and lived alone in the fields, playing only for himself, drowning in longing. That's when the Maenads showed up, followers of Dionysus, hyped up, in full frenzy, sparkling with mythological glitter, and on the lookout for a crush. They were captivated by Orpheus's beauty and, well, they were expecting a more passionate welcome. But Orpheus turned them all down, basically saying, "I'm mourning, sweetheart." The Maenads' response? Emotional maturity? Self-awareness? Nope. They stoned him. But the stones, upon hearing Orpheus's sorrowful tune, refused to strike him. Yes, even the minerals felt his pain. So they cranked up the volume, beat their drums, screamed like mad, they drowned out the music, and without his sonic shield, Orpheus was attacked, torn apart, and his head was thrown into a river. Ever the romantic, his head kept singing as it floated downstream. The Muses, sisters of his mother Calliope, were devastated. They gathered his remains in his lyre and, in honor of the greatest artist in mythology, placed his instrument among the stars as a constellation. Orpheus became legend. And his story, passed down through generations, remains an eternal reminder that love can move worlds, but it can also drag you straight into an emotional abyss, complete with a sad soundtrack. And so ends the mythological opera of Orpheus, the musician who faced the underworld with nothing but a lyre and a broken heart. He enchanted monsters, softened Hades, nearly defeated death, but lost everything with a single glance. Tragic? Absolutely. Avoidable? Also yes. But if we've learned anything today, it's that in the Greek world, loving too hard is basically the same as messing with a god on a hangover. If you enjoyed this epic drama full of music, love, and emotional miscalculations, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And tell us in the comments which part you think was the most unfair. Because here at Mythology is cool. We turn even the biggest heartbreak into top-tier content.